Every summer, millions of people put a potted lavender plant on their patio and call it pest control. And every summer, those same people get absolutely destroyed by mosquitoes. There's a reason for that, and once you understand it, the whole category of mosquito-repelling plants looks completely different. Here's what this video is actually about. There are plants that genuinely work against mosquitoes. 3 of them in particular that the industry has almost no incentive to push. And then there's a massive pile of theater that gets sold to you as protection. We're going to go through both. I've gone deep into the university research and the CDC and EPA data on this, and by the end, the last plant on this list is going to change how you think about all of it. Because it's not just effective, it's sitting in most people's kitchens right now, completely ignored. Let's start with the thing nobody in this space will say out loud. A Clemson University review of 62 studies found 0 evidence that landscape plantings alone reduce mosquito activity. Not reduced activity, 0. And here's why that matters so much. That meta-analysis looked at 62 scientific studies examining the effectiveness of plant essential oils. Only 6 were performed in the field, the other 56 in laboratories. None of the studies examined landscape plantings and their ability to repel mosquitoes. So when you see a gardening channel tell you to plant citronella around your patio, they're citing lab research on extracted oils and applying it to a whole plant sitting in a pot. Those are 2 completely different things. As Clemson University states, volatile oils only release repellent compounds when leaves are crushed or burned, not during normal growth. The plant stores its chemistry inside microscopic structures called trichomes on the leaf surface, and those only release their contents when physically ruptured. So the plant sitting in the pot is essentially inert. Growing it gives you a supply depot. Crushing the leaves is the act of opening the door. No crushing, no chemistry. This is the single biggest misconception in the entire category, and almost every video in this space skips right past it. Now, here's the thing that makes all of this even more complicated, and it has to do with how mosquitoes actually find you in the first place. Mosquitoes detect humans through carbon dioxide, body heat, and movement. They can sense carbon dioxide from more than 30 feet away. And CO2 is the gate. It's what switches on their response to everything else. In lab experiments, mosquitoes ignored a surface heated to human body temperature unless they were also given a puff of CO2. Repellent plants don't block CO2, which is exactly why they can never work as a standalone outdoor solution just sitting there. What they can do, when activated, is interfere with the final approach navigation system once a mosquito is already closing in. That's a real and useful function, but it only kicks in if you actually release the compounds, and that brings us to the 3 plants that are genuinely worth your time. The second best one on this list is a plant that almost nobody grows for this purpose, and it does something the others can't. Researchers report that nepentolactone, the essential oil in catnip that gives the plant its characteristic odor, is about 10 times more effective at repelling mosquitoes than DEET. That finding came out of Iowa State University, and it's been replicated. Both nepentolactone isomers and the catnip essential oil had excellent spatial repellency, while DEET only exhibited spatial repellency at higher concentrations. So it's not just matching DEET, it's beating it at the spatial level, meaning it creates a zone that mosquitoes actively avoid rather than just masking your scent on contact. The compound activates a specific irritant receptor in insects, triggering a genuine avoidance response. This isn't just covering up your smell. The mosquito's sensory system is actively telling it to leave. So why isn't catnip everywhere? There's no commercially available, EPA-registered, catnip-based topical repellent that has completed full efficacy and safety trials for skin application. The compound exists, the research exists, the plant is legal and cheap to grow, and the industry has almost no financial incentive to develop it when DT is already a mature, profitable product. Catnip is a perennial herb belonging to the mint family and grows wild in most parts of the United States. You can grow it in a container for a few dollars, crush the leaves before you go outside, and rub them on your skin or clothing. That's the activation mechanism. And remember, without crushing, you get nothing. Now, here's the one the CDC actually endorses, And there's a catch that almost nobody explains correctly. Oil of lemon eucalyptus and its refined active PMD is the one plant-based repellent the CDC recognizes as effective, listing it alongside DEET and picaridin. PMD, paramenthane 3, 8-diol, is derived from the lemon eucalyptus tree, and the EPA registers PMD as a repellent active, which means it has been reviewed for both effectiveness and safety when used as directed. That combination of CDC recognition and EPA registration is what separates it from the entire field of essential oils that get marketed as bug repellent. Here's the catch. Natural lemon eucalyptus oil is not the same as oil of lemon eucalyptus. There are two things people call lemon eucalyptus: the raw fragrance oil used in candles and cleaning products, and the refined active ingredient, PMD. The key is choosing a repellent-grade product with a printed PMD percentage, not a plain lemon eucalyptus fragrance oil, which is not a tested repellent. Oil of lemon eucalyptus essential oil is not recommended for use as an insect repellent. Most people buying lemon eucalyptus products are buying the decorative version. If the label doesn't show a PMD percentage, you're looking at a candle ingredient, not a repellent. Look for the percentage. That's the only thing that matters on the label. And now we're at the one almost nobody in this niche ever talks about, and it's been sitting in your spice rack the whole time. Burning thyme leaves gives approximately 85% mosquito protection for up to 90 minutes. One study confirmed that figure. Thyme is one of the most common kitchen herbs in North America, costs under $3 a bundle, and grows in virtually any climate. When you toss a few sprigs onto a fire or grill, you generate a smoke concentration of thymol and carvacrol, the active compounds in thyme, that far exceeds anything a passive plant could release into open air. It works as a spatial barrier across an entire outdoor seating area. That's not a skin application, that's a zone of protection, and it costs essentially nothing. Here's why thyme is so effective that it earns the top spot. Bee balm, another underrated plant in this category, produces thymol and carvacrol too, the same compounds in thyme oil that tested at 97.3% repellency in lab conditions. Bee balm is cold hardy in zones 3 to 9. It produces showy flowers from midsummer through early fall, which is the peak of mosquito season. It deters mosquitoes while simultaneously attracting pollinators. No video in this niche ever talks about bee balm. It's native to North America, grows wild across most of the country, requires almost no maintenance, and blooms precisely during the months you need it most. But even bee balm, sitting passively in the garden, needs to be activated. Crush the flowers. Rub a stem on your clothing. Then it works. Thyme smoke takes that same chemistry and broadcasts it across your entire yard, which is why it's the most actionable application in this whole video. Now I want to pause here for a second because there are two more things that completely change how you use all of this, and one of them has nothing to do with plants at all. Your skin microbiome is broadcasting a signal to mosquitoes right now. 3 groups of bacteria, Staphylococcus, Corynebacterium, and Cutibacterium, make up between 45% and 80% of the entire human skin microbiome. These bacteria produce lactic acid, ammonia, and various carboxylic acids that are key triggers for mosquito host seeking. The volatile compounds in plants like lavender and basil don't just mask your smell, they compete with the bacterial signature your skin is already sending out. This reframes the whole category. You're not fighting mosquitoes directly. You're editing the chemical signal your body is already broadcasting. That's why crushed plant compounds on skin work differently, and better, than a plant sitting 3 feet away from you. And then there's the fan. This sounds too simple, but the science backs it completely. Mosquitoes are weak flyers. At wind speeds above just 1 mile per hour, their ability to follow a CO2 plume collapses. A $20 box fan disperses your CO2 plume, physically grounds approaching mosquitoes, and creates a dead zone around your seating area. Combine that fan with thyme smoke or crushed catnip, and you're stacking 2 separate disruption mechanisms, sensory and physical, in a way no single plant ever could. The fan handles the CO2 detection. The plant compounds handle the final approach navigation. Together, they cover both stages of how a mosquito finds you. Here's what actually changed in this video. You came in thinking the plant in the pot was doing something. It's not. The plants themselves don't constantly give off those helpful oils. You must crush or burn or concentrate them to get the effect. The 3 plants worth your time are catnip, lemon eucalyptus in its PMD form, and thyme. And the way you use them is everything. Crush the catnip. Check the PMD percentage on the label. Burn the thyme. The citronella candle on your patio table? According to the American Mosquito Control Association, citronella candles only have a mild repellent effect and don't appear to offer significantly more protection than other candles that simply produce smoke. Shifting winds blow whatever marginal concentration existed away from you immediately. You've been buying atmosphere, not protection. The fan, the crushed leaves, the thyme on the grill, that's the stack. That's what actually works.